final start this week. Dallas, Boston, matchups, players. Who you got?
I have
OGs are back in the building. We are in Miami, back home. Got a special guest for you, man.
Very special.
Man. NBA champion.
Very few people that I can learn something from.
That's right.
Very few people. So this is exciting for me.
An NBA All-Star. Just signed a big
Cha-ching. Cha-ching.
and well-deserved, man, in the building. Caron Butler, appreciate you coming in, my brother.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I love the setup, too.
Yeah.
This is dope.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
But congratulations. We'll jump right into it. Congratulations on a new 4-year deal. Well-deserved, man.
Thank you.
Hell
It was
yeah.
so unexpected, too. Obviously, I knew that my contract was coming to an end, and we had a tremendous amount of success over the last couple of years, stemming from his time and everything that he's poured into the organization and to the young guys. And, you know, it just came out of left field. I was like, oh, snap. Like, yeah, it's a blessing. It's a blessing.
Well, it's almost full circle, though. Get drafted here and now coaching here.
Yeah. You know, it started with him and D-Wade being my young fellas.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
Being your young fella, look at
Yeah.
yeah, man, he was my young fella. Now he's the triple OG now. So
he was my young fella, too. Don't worry about it.
crazy, right?
Stop.
When I first came back coaching, I was just sitting back watching, and I was like, oh, snap. Like, damn. Like, he's speaking truth to power, and we don't have to say too much because he's echoing everything. Like, so it was important to just watch that process for me. That was fruitful.
Awesome.
Man, I tell people all the time, bro, it's like I understand that, you know, the league is getting younger and these guys are more talented, but you can't really put a price tag on having a veteran voice in your locker room. A guy who's relatable to the players, who has experience, who's won championships, but not necessarily has the coaching position, but can echo and be a voice in the locker room and be another extension of your coach. I mean, that's invaluable in any locker room, and I was just fortunate enough to be here. But in any locker room, that's valuable.
No, it's one of the most overlooked things, in my opinion.
And you got to have guys that listen.
Yeah.
You gotta have young guys that want to listen and want to get better. And to the credit of the Heat, we brought in the right guys. You know what I mean? So it goes both ways.
You always have guys that listen when they're respected by their peers, right? And I think that his body of work and everything that he stands for, you know, speaking truth to power, there's no gray area with him. You know where you stand.
You know where you
Everything's
stand
in line.
with him.
So it's like those guys, and it's a handful of guys that still exist in the league like that, you need those guys in the locker room.
But he did that for us.
Huh?
He did that for me and Dwayne. You know what I'm saying? When we first got here, you know what I'm saying? He ain't sugarcoated. He shot it straight. We speak the same language.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? What it is, what it ain't. You know what I'm saying? And this is how you going to survive in this league. And he gave us that, and it just trickles down, and that's why we got a culture.
Listen, I was fortunate to play with both y'all, and both y'all are cut from the same. Like, it wasn't, you know exactly where you stand with both you. Let's be honest. That's to me, that's the one thing that needs to be done for all these young kids coming through, because they don't, like, it's almost like raising kids. They ain't supposed to know.
Yeah.
Right? Like they ain't supposed to know. Like if you're mad at a young kid for doing something wrong, that's on the team, the staff, the vets. Like they ain't supposed to know.
You got to be so creative in your tactics now to get proper execution from younger guys, because let's face it, like we grew up in real time going through the experiences. Now everything is, you know, instant and microwavable. It's a little different.
Yeah.
You want to get there because you see it more in your face, but also like people don't want to, you know, go through the grind of that. People don't want to go through the failure process, and everybody just want to show up like a blister when all the work done, you know. So it's different, you know. So
Look over here,
just,
hey, over
like
here
a blister,
preaching,
man.
ain't
I
it?
love that.
It's
It
just,
show up
it's
like a
different,
blister.
man.
Over like a blister.
It's different. It's different.
So I'm glad you say that, because the hardest thing to me, and this is just my experience, is when you're done playing and you have a long career, successful career. Both of you guys had that, like that transitioning out, right? And then you go into coaching. What was the biggest challenge for you coaching-wise? Because you were always a grinder. Like hard work, play, you know what I mean, talented as hell, but grinders. What was the hardest transition for you when you started coaching then compared to playing?
Life was a transition. He was selling. Life was a transition. But see, when you looking at a made man, we're talking about 180. We talking about a 360. Well, a 360 turning right back to the same spot.
Exactly.
180 then. We're going to go back. 180.
Then 180 again.
Yeah, 180.
But listen, truth to power, like with that being said, I knew that if I could sell poison, like for real, like if I could sell, I know I can sell hope. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's easy.
Is this Sunday?
No, I'm just, but it's like, that's just what it was. So my whole process with the transition, and I'll tell you when I knew I wanted to be a coach or a teacher in some capacity was in 2011, you know, second leading scorer on the championship team, go down with the injury in Dallas. And I was like, damn, how can I have an impact on this team while I can't physically be out there and do what I need to do? And I'm like going through this process, and it's, you know, as a competitor, you know, it's just like messing with me. Like I can't have an impact. So it started in film sessions where I was like, Rick Carlisle's talking, and I'm like, hey, why are we not getting back? What's this? Where the shrink? Like, you know, the rotation's slow, and it's just like, oh man, I like doing this. Like I got a place, I got a voice, and it just kind of happened organically like that. And then fast forward to television after I retired, year 16, I'm chilling on TNT, doing my thing, and then Spo finally reached out in the bubble year when y'all in the bubble, and I'm working for the Lakers on Spectrum, and you know, he just said, hey man, like I think you'd be a great, you know, asset to this organization coming on the bench. And I never thought about it, but I knew that was something that I wanted to do at some point. Yeah, so
That's
it's
really
deep.
good. Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members. It is the most fun and exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more players' stats for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. That was not an error. That is 100 times your cash.
If you're trying to make some money this summer, like everybody should be, Prize Picks got you covered. You could turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports team this summer. You can make a Prize Pick lineup in as little as 60 seconds. You just need to pick more or less 2 to 6 players, stat projections, and you're locked in.
The finals just means more on Prize Pick, and so does star players. You get boosted payouts on select basketball stars that you won't find anywhere else.
Download the app today. Use code OGs for the first deposit match up to $100.
Again, download the app today and use code OGs for the first deposit match of up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Fellas, blink if you haven't purchased your Father's Day gift yet. Yeah, we thought so. Today's episode is brought to you by Manscaped, the leader in below-the-waist grooming. Our friends at Manscaped have crafted the total package for his special day. Whether it's for the boys downstairs, his beard, or even the best pair of underwear out, Manscaped has all his bases covered. Head over to manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping with the code OGs. And remember, cut your grass if you want her to find your sprinkler. Those old dusty underwear he got for Christmas a decade ago definitely need upgrade. And what better way than Manscaped Boxer 2.0? No beard kit would be complete without Manscaped Handyman Face Shaver. For that smooth finish we know he loves, this bad boy is all he needs. Compact enough to fit in travel cases, make sure you take this on your next trip. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code OGs at manscaped.com. That's 20% off free shipping at manscaped.com and use code OGs. Never forget where you came from, if you know what I mean. Happy Father's Day from Manscaped. We got to talk about that championship. You know, I hate to talk about it. Man,
That championship.
we're going to talk about it. Dirk credited you for being a huge reason of why they won that championship, obviously after your injury. First of all, did you put your kneecap back in? I heard you slid up to your thigh, and you pushed it back down.
Man, you know where we from, man. So
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, I had like 100, like this is no cap, no, like I had like over 115, 20 people in Milwaukee on New Year's Day. I had a contract extension being negotiated. And so I knew, like, I was like, man, this the time, like the momentum in my favor. And when I go down, I got all these folks in the stands, and this is at a time before Giannis and all that stuff. So it was, easy to get Bucks tickets, probably about $5 discount pack. And I had everybody in attendance, but my mom, my family, all my kids was there, and I just couldn't allow myself to get, taken off in a wheelchair or something like that. So man law had to come into double effect. I had to 10X that and just, walk off the court. But I did think my career was over because immediately when I went in the back, the doctor asked me how old I was. I told him, I was like, yeah, I'm 31, 32, whatever it was at the time. He was like, it's a complete rupture. You could tell. He was like, I've never seen anyone come back from that. So immediately I was like, all right, let me check.
Doc.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
Give me a little time here, Doc.
Yeah, he already tried to rain on me, but I was like, man, let me check that box. Let me come back from this at least. I got to walk on the floor again. But then I eventually was able through rehab come back, and Mark Cuban told me you're not going nowhere. I'm not gonna waive you or anything. You're staying a part of this team. So that meant a lot too. So big shout out to him.
Yeah, that sounds like some Kobe right there, and you play with Kobe. That sounds like some Kobe right there. Like I'm gonna, you know what? You told me I ain't gonna be able to do this. I'm gonna do this.
That was the only thing I remember from that conversation. The second he said, "How old are you?" Oh, guys don't come back from this, and I was like, all right, that's my okay. I got you. All right. You said it to the wrong one.
That sounds like Kobe for real.
The fact that you brought up Kobe is just it brings a thought to mind because a lot of the young generation, a lot of these guys like to bring up the phrase and they like to use Mamba mentality. Mm-hmm. Everybody ain't got the Mamba mentality. No. I think people like to use it. It sound cute. Can you speak on firsthand? Because you know what it was. You seen it. You know what it's like to really have the Mamba mentality. Can you speak on firsthand, what that really is?
I would say this, the Mamba mentality is what the culture is all about. And I would say that, my first 2 years in Miami, everything that we was being taught, we didn't have a super vet or anything like that.
Yes.
Remember, Zoe went out with the kidney situation.
Yes.
So we was learning in real time. And fast forward to me getting traded and then going to Los Angeles, immediately Kobe signed the deal. I'm talking about in real time. He's signing his contract and he's like, be ready to black out. It was just like, and then it went to that. And then the next day, we're in the gym doing 2-a-days, 3 hours, reps, pivot work, out of the triangle offense, pinch elbow, closeouts, weightlifting. And I was like, oh, all right, that was amazing. All right, we're coming back again, and we're doing this again, and then we're gonna do one-on-ones and things like that. And then guess what? We're gonna do this tomorrow, and we're gonna do. So we was doing it 6 days a week, and I was just like, damn. But this is what Rouse was talking about, and I didn't see an individual doing it, but I saw the formula and the recipe for success. But now I'm seeing him do it in real time, and sacrificing all his free time. Like what life? You got time to go to the beach? You got time? That we can do that on our second act. Right now, we got to stick to the script. We got to handle this business.
Legend.
So that was his mentality, and that's what the Mamba mentality was to me.
That's why I love hearing it because you see all the stuff now, especially social media. We got to talk about all the hard work.
It just sound good. The young boy like to say they got the Mamba mentality.
That's what I'm saying. But you even see all the stuff that Kobe did, but it's fun to hear someone that witnessed it and watched it, right?
In real time.
Yes, and it's not a make believe. It's what he did because people talk about Cat just came out and said I would shoot 1,500 shots a day. This is what Kobe really did every single day. It wasn't yesterday.
Yeah.
It's every day. Today's episode is proudly brought to you by our guys at Morgan & Morgan. It's America's largest personal injury law firm. They started out here in Florida 30 years ago and now are helping people across all 50 states. Morgan & Morgan is always for the people and have your back when it comes to fighting to get you full and fair compensation. As athletes, we have faced our fair share of injuries. That's why we know how difficult it is to get back out there after an injury. The team and the support behind you matter. And submitting an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan is free and easy. It just takes 8 clicks or less from the comfort of your own couch to get started. If you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/theOGs or dial #law. That's #529 from your cell phone. That's forthepeople.com/theOGs or #law pound 529 from your cell phone. This, my friends, is a paid advertisement.
Ooh-wee, y'all know these finals about to be crazy, y'all. Game Time makes getting NBA Finals tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer you get to tip-off. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and the lowest prices guaranteed, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. If you do everything last minute like OG, this is your favorite part of the app. You can save up to 60% off buying last-minute sports, concert, comedy, theater, and anything else you want to go to. You can pull it up on your phone, get your panoramic view of your seat from the app before you buy. And the lowest price guarantee or Game Time will credit you up to 110% of the difference. Game Time ticket coverage, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Go download the Game Time app, create an account, use code OGs for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code OGs for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Hey, I'm gonna tell you a little secret too, CB, man, that you brought up that trade. Me and D-Wade was a little hurt.
Me too,
He
brother.
was a little hurt. We felt like we had a little thing going. Yeah, just bought your crib.
Yeah, just bought
He
the crib.
he just bought his crib. He was mentoring me and Dwayne, and him and Dwayne had a relationship, and me and him spoke the same language. So we had a little 3-man little thing we was working on, man. It was a little vibe,
I
man.
reached
That
out
hurt.
to Riles. I came back from Antigua, and I heard about the trade, and I kept doing this on repeat. So I went to the mall out in Doral over there, all new built community. I was like, bought the house. I asked Coach Riley, I was like, Godfather, you think I should purchase this house? He was like, yeah, of course. You ain't going nowhere. You know, like you here. So I was like, oh, like I'm all that rumors, like that ain't real. And this before social media, so it's just some happening on the ticker. I know Shaq is coming. So I was like, damn, what the team gonna look like if Shaq get here? It's gonna be me, Lamar, D-Wade, UD, Eddie Jones. They was like, oh yeah, somebody gotta go. It's the picks and all. So I was like, so D-Wade gotta go. So it'd be me. and then I kept doing the math without me in it. Then I was like, oh, I'm about to get traded.
CB went over to D-Wade's help Pat.
Man, listen.
And Pat Riley told me it was a great investment. He was like, the house was a great investment, man.
me
So
tell you, man.
ain't no hard
Is that what he
feelings.
told you?
Yeah, it was a great investment.
Listen, like the Godfather always say, when a well is available,
You gotta go get
you
it.
gotta go get a well.
Gotta go get the
And
well.
that's what we always understood, because I remember my name was in the hat one time. We was talking about making a move for Iverson.
Ooh.
And my name got thrown in that hat a little bit, and I was all shook up and shit. But D-Wade was like, man, that's Allen Iverson.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so, but once again, I think whatever reason that didn't work, I don't know if the dynamics with him and Dwayne would have worked at that time. So I think dynamically, it didn't work.
The usage and somebody off the ball.
The dynamics didn't work, but my ass was almost out of here. And how can I argue if you bring in Allen Iverson?
It's
Like,
different.
Yeah,
That's
I gotta
different.
go.
As a human being, if you have any self-awareness, like you get traded for AI, Shaq, like come on, man, like
Yeah.
I mean, it sounded good, but I still had that little
No, of
feeling in
course
your
you
stomach. You still got that little feeling.
It's the most uneasy thing. Like in our profession, there's blessings on blessings on blessings, right? Like you make a lot of money, you do a lot of certain things, you do something you love. But the one thing that's never talked about is the stuff like that: getting traded, buying a house.
Yeah.
Man,
I got traded on my birthday, right? Like,
Damn.
Now,
Happy birthday, killer.
You were at the
Happy birthday, dog.
from where?
from Orlando to Memphis. Yeah, and I was literally sitting talking to our T-Mac, and I was like, I'm gonna get traded. Like, nah. I talked to him, nah, on my birthday, boom. But it's life.
Dang.
But the hard thing is like, I don't know if you never got traded.
Did you have a party on your birthday? What'd you do? Pack your and go? Did you enjoy your
But
birthday?
it's in the middle of the season, so you ain't got no choice. Next day, you on that plane, you playing. I was playing in New Orleans.
Fuck
the
that,
next
I'd have
day.
been a day
Pastor
late.
Fiz gonna play.
Crazy.
I'd have been a
Quick.
day late.
Yeah.
I'd have been a day late, killer. I'm gonna enjoy my birthday. Damn that. And we finna turn it up. We finna turn the city up too. Orlando, we finna shut that shit down. Disney World, Titty
Dang,
City,
that hurt.
all that. We finna shut all that down before we get to Memphis.
Don't
Not
get
only
traded.
that too, you got to uproot your family and people don't understand that whole process. Man,
The sacrifices that we make, the family makes too. Like it's in February.
Man,
It's
first of
around
all-
All-Star break. Okay,
First of
you
all-
having fun at school? Too bad. Let's go.
you got to
Man,
go.
first of all, I tell people all the time, what we do ain't for everybody.
No doubt.
We literally in a profession where if you play bad, I can look at you in your face and tell you a piece of shit. You playing like you look like shit. Go do that in the corporate world. They're going to file a lawsuit on your ass. Go tell your employee at work, you working like shit today, you look like shit, you smell like shit, you're working like shit.
Real.
Get the out and say that in corporate and watch what happens. Your ass won't have your job no much longer. Like, we literally ain't, listen, I tell people all the time, man, this ain't for the weak. This shit will keep you up at night. This is not for the weak, bro. Everybody ain't built for this.
And these teams that are going through the playoffs for the first time are starting to see it too, because it's a freaking roller coaster, man.
No empathy in this, man.
Yeah, because
No empathy. Great way.
You take
Great way to explain it.
Minnesota. They're talking about how good they were and how great this team is and blah 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 blah. And then this goes and happens to them, and now they're talking about how shitty they are. And how,
I disagree with that.
I know you do, but that's what happens. You turn TV on. You're a part of it now.
What do you think about what they did? Not speaking to TNT and how they held their stance on that. As a team, I like the unity. Yeah. I like when the locker room stick together. Listen, right or wrong, take sides for your dog, ride for your dog.
I like with Ant too. I like him. That's why.
So at the end of the day, whether like it's like the old school, like the coach make the team hate each other, but at least they together.
Yeah.
TNT, at least y'all was together.
Yeah.
I worked for TNT, so we might have to cut that. I don't want to say y'all. I f with y'all. But what I'm saying is the locker room is together.
If you wrong in public, you right in public, but you wrong behind closed doors. Yeah. Like, if it's real unity, that's what it's supposed to be.
Exactly,
like.
And there's a power in that.
Yeah,
there's a power in that.
A lot of power in that.
What did you think about that? What did y'all think about that? How they stood on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're saying is a lot of truth to it. Like, the reality of the situation is, Ant, who wasn't the one getting killed, stood up for the rest of the guys because they want to talk to Ant. So I think there's a lot to appreciate and admire about that, to be honest with you. But it's hard because part of our job too is stepping up when shit ain't right and talking about it.
Yeah.
So it's a back and forth, right? Like they always talk about, man. Like once you have a bad game or a good game, you got to stand on that podium. That's what they pay you for.
Yeah, I think it is a space because I've been in the media. I was in the media space for 4.5, 5 years, and the thing that I try to do when I address talent or anyone on any platform after games, after they get a chance to decompress, I try to just have empathy. I try to think about, like, from a tactical standpoint, what is this individual going through? I try to think outside the box because there's layers to, their process, and then you put yourself in those situations. I know it's easier said than done, but you really have to authentically put yourself in those situations. Mm-hmm. So I went in depth, and I was watching a game on Mother's Day, and I have an elephant memory when it comes to these type of things, and I was sitting back watching the game, and one of my close friends was doing color commentary on TNT, and they were just like, what is going on with Cat? Now, I know we aren't supposed to speak on other players or anything, but it was like, what is going on with Cat? And I was like, it's Mother's Day. Mm-hmm. He's playing on Mother's Day. Mm-hmm. Do you not think that has a profound impact on when he woke up this morning, when he had to go out there and have this disposition mentally to go out there and produce at the highest level after coming off this emotional win versus Denver at the time and now getting ready to go to battle? So as fans, you have to, and now getting the money that you're getting, you have to just understand that pressure and what comes with it. Like, this is your responsibility. I don't give a how you feeling, what's going on in your world. You got in a car accident, why didn't you play today?
Exactly.
Rudy Gobert had a baby. Why wasn't you out there? Was it his first kid? Was it his only kid? Like, do people know with children how many times you get a chance to witness a life come into the world that you helped produce? Like, that is a real experience. No doubt. Like, you don't take that or change that for anything. Like, that's like one of those moments. So it's just things to me that I just be like, wow, like the world is really missing out. And have we got to this place where it's just like,
don't nobody give a
from a competition standpoint, I'm a competitor. I want to hoist up that trophy at the end of the year by any means within the rules. But at the same time, I also understand the joy of life because I've seen it from this side, I've seen it from that side. I experienced the worst. We had lost people close to us. Yeah. So I understand that perspective as well. And I'm just like, damn, we're really up as a society.
Yeah.
I just had to put that out there. Like, we're up as a society to think like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Speaking of hoisting trophies,
Which one? Which one are you gonna talk about?
No, we're gonna talk about who's gonna win it this year first.
Oh,
Ooh, that's deep.
I thought you was gonna talk about the trophies, the UConn or the.
Oh no, we're gonna get all that though. We got plenty of time.
There's so many.
Yeah. Hey man, listen.
Wow.
That's why we're gonna talk about this one. We ain't gonna talk about damn UConn right
We'll
now.
get into that.
Just remember, whenever you think you can't,
UConn. Get your ass out of here.
I ain't heard that
You're
one.
gonna throw me a lob over here and I
Wow.
like an idiot.
I ain't catch that. I'm happy he got you.
So, final start this week.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas, Boston, matchups, players. Who you got?
I have Dallas winning. I know they're the underdogs, but that's one of the main reasons I got them winning because they're coming in with a little chip on their shoulder. Mm-hmm. Not a little, a boulder. Mm-hmm. And, I think that from an execution standpoint is, Jason Kidd, Missoula, they both do a great job of putting their best players in the proper situations to have advantages and create advantages and get other opportunities for, their supporting cast. But I just think that when you look at the best players on the team and the best players on the floor, I think that Dallas have the advantage in that space. I think that Luka is by far the best player in this series. And no disrespect to, Brown and Tatum because they're an amazing tandem and they're one of the winningest tandems in all of basketball over the last probably 8 to 10 years. But Luka is that dude. He is that guy, and it's a platform for him to take another step forward. Kyrie, when you think about him and his journey what has happened on the stage and under that umbrella with being with the Boston Celtics, I'm just a guy that just understands how you're fueled by the noise.
Yes.
Immediately when Anthony Edwards said what he said to Kyrie, like, hey, I can't wait to guard him. Kyrie is part of that Mamba cloth.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So he's like, what, you said my name on TV? Like, me? Out of all people you could have mentioned, you
I'm
said,
minding my business.
I'm over here with my family.
Yeah.
I'm worshiping my God. Like, all praise to the up high. Like, are you over here okay, I'm about to unleash this. So I just think that it's a lot of stuff brewing in Kyrie belly to, let out. Now, from an execution standpoint with Boston, they're going to have to play extremely well, paint touches, Jaylen Brown getting to the paint, scoring in the paint. I think that Jason Kidd is going to have a scheme for that.
Yes.
But the pick and roll is going to be a hazard for Boston.
Yes.
And two of the best pick and roll guys in all of basketball is who?
Luka and
Kyrie and
Luka
Luka.
and Kyrie.
Luka and
And I think
Kyrie.
that if you switch in the pick and roll with Al Horford or if Porzingis healthy and he's back, now you're at a disadvantage because those guys are always going to have an advantage.
Barbecue.
If you try to blitz, it's going to be an advantage as well because they got cutters and they got guys that they're not statues, they're moving pieces. So I just think that that's going to be extremely interesting. Now, on the opposing end, Boston, they're going to try to attack Luka as much as possible, but we saw that on the opposing end with Minnesota, Gobert going at him in the post, Edwards trying to attack him. And I think they had enough reps at it where they just know how to scheme and protect him without him getting in foul trouble. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a competitive series, but I got Dallas in 6.
You know damn well who I got. You know I ain't got Boston.
That man ever take Boston
I
today?
got
That's
Dallas. I got Dallas.
I do too.
And not only because, you know what I'm saying, because I have what I have against with Boston. My thing is at the end of the day, I love the redemption story. I love the fact that Kyrie, who was in a situation where literally almost nobody wanted him, you know what I'm saying, and Dallas took a chance. People said it wasn't going to work. You know what I'm saying? I love the fact that when you got guys like Luka with guys who consider system guys, and the question is always, can you win with a guy who's a system, like a James Harden, a Luka? Can you win with those guys? He handles the ball. He dominates the ball. Well, now he's getting a chance to change that narrative. He's getting a chance to change that narrative. You can win with a guy like Luka Doncic. You can put a guy like Kyrie and Luka together. Oh, and by the way, all the teams that might have passed on Kyrie,
He back.
he back. You know what I'm saying? I love the underdog. I'm an underdog, so I'm always gonna have,
so good,
you know what I'm saying, a soft spot for an underdog. And it's crazy that we call one of the best players in the league an underdog, but Kyrie came from an underdog situation. Boston, Brooklyn, all those situations where he was painted as a villain. We wasn't there. We don't know what the hell happened.
wrong, by
I just
the
saw
way.
him on TV saging and like that. We don't know what the story was, why he was saging in that, but I can imagine there's a lot of devils in there. But at the end of the day, he was painted to be the villain in all those situations. So I love to see the redemption story. I love to see him have his day. And I think he deserves it. And once again, he's happy and he's embraced. And I tell people this all the time. It was similar to when we got Jimmy. You have a guy in a situation in the locker room where he just doesn't fit, and he's painted as a villain, but all of a sudden you take him out and you put him in a locker room of like-minded guys and places where he's wanted, where he's appreciated and where he's valued. And then you watch the maturation and the evolution and the growth of that player. Kyrie hasn't changed. All these are things that Kyrie possessed. These are skills that he possessed. These are communication skills all these are things that Kyrie possessed. He just didn't feel comfortable bringing them out for whatever reason. He wasn't comfortable in those spaces. He's comfortable now. He's wanted, he's appreciated, and he's growing. You can see it off the court and on the court with his, his situation, like you said. He's sitting at home, all praise to the Allah or whatever, and enjoying his wife and kids and family. And he said my name. So I think Kyrie, for once, he's happy now. And I don't know if he's had this happiness since he played with Bron in Cleveland.
Who does winning a championship impact more? Luka, Kyrie, Tatum, or Jaylen Brown?
Man, I say Tatum, if you ask me, because he's been the golden child since he left Duke.
He got
all the way back to Duke. He's been the chosen one. You know what I'm saying? And, ever since he's come into Boston, one thing about it, two things for sure. You got to be able to hang one up in the banners in Boston. You got to be able to hang one up in the banner. They don't care nothing about them numbers.
No.
Yeah, you could get as many numbers if you want. If you don't hang nothing up there.
Eastern Conference banners don't mean.
No, that shit don't count. Yeah. No, that don't count. You got to hang one up there, at least.
Yeah.
And that's only going to get you about 2 years. They're going to be on your ass again to hang another one. And I think that's what Tatum struggles with. And I think that's why people continue to move the goalposts for him. It's not him as a person. It's not what he's capable of. It's not his numbers. It's literally he's a Boston Celtic. And to whom much is given, as much is required. It's just like being a Laker. You know what I'm saying? In those situations, when you're in those organizations, you look at the Lakers, and I tell people all the time, the Lakers, since Phil Jackson left, the average coaches sit in the seat 2 to 3 years.
It's crazy, isn't it?
2 to 3 years, and your ass is gone because the expectation is to win. Frank Vogel won one in the bubble, and his ass was gone the next year.
Facts.
Your expectations is to win when you put on those 2 jerseys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a loaded question because you look at Luka's situation too. Like the West is so loaded right now. If he doesn't do it this year, there's no guarantee the.
Nah, not at all. Not at all. No guarantee.
How many 50-win teams did Dallas beat?
I mean, all of them.
That's what I'm saying.
So if he don't win it this year, like it's no guarantee he's gonna be back there. Like they had to go through Minnesota. Who else they got? Clippers.
Yeah. And OKC. That's a nice run, boy. That's a tough run.
Hell of a run.
That's a tough run when you look at it like that.
So like when you talk about like the Tatum stuff, the problem with the Tatum stuff to me is I'm with you. Everything you said was spot on. Obviously the East is a little bit easier for them right now.
With all the injuries.
Yes. But with that being said though, like they have a small window too, and this league now is becoming small pocket windows because they can't afford to keep that team together. There's no way.
He has to get paid.
He's getting paid $305 this summer.
Okay, yeah,
that ain't bad, is it?
Yeah. So
listen, I'm with you on that. Let me tell you something. They went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year and still made moves.
Yeah.
They brought in Porzingis. They brought in Drew. Yeah. You don't make those moves unless you're trying to get over that hump.
100%.
They gave Drew a 4-year deal.
Yeah.
They probably got 2 more years.
But think about their
Al
roster
Horford's
right
locked
now.
in.
Yeah.
But Derek White got to pay him.
Yeah.
This guy Drew Holiday, Tatum, like you can't keep paying these guys.
Speaking like an agent. Speaking like an agent now. He's speaking like an agent. That boy know them books, don't he?
Hey, you see, I'm sitting here nodding my head because I want to elaborate a little more on like the numbers but I just don't want to get caught in that space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna nod my head.
He's speaking like an agent, man. He know them numbers.
You speaking truth to power, man. But, it's a lot of unknowns.
That's why the Luka one is more like it's interesting. They're both intriguing. Obviously, Kyrie, this comeback story or whatever you want to call it. I don't call it a comeback story because I think they missed. I think Kyrie's always been a great kid.
I'd say proper placement.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep,
proper placement.
That's proper
Gosh,
placement.
damn, this guy over here. I'm telling you right now, Sundays I'm coming.
In the right locker room, right organization, the right time with the right people.
Yeah.
But
little
Drew's always been a sweetheart kid. Like all he does is care about hooping his family now.
Yeah.
The Luka one's interesting because we just talked about how hard the West is right now. And we ain't even talking about the old grimy Grizz are about to be healthy again next year. Like West is hard.
The who?
The Grizzlies. They would have
Grizzlies?
made the playoffs if Ja didn't get hurt.
That's right.
As worse as they were.
Hold on, listen. And I like the Grizzlies.
Hold on. He about to come at me. Look at
I like the Grizzlies. I do. I I like everything they got going on. I love them. But you can't say they was gonna be in there. They won 15 games this year.
No, I'm saying, but they're going to be better next year too. I'm talking about the West.
Yeah, they'll be better.
Yeah.
How many games they won?
Better.
This
They're
year?
going to be.
How many
They're going
games
to be a
they won?
top 4 seed next year.
See, that's what I'm saying.
They'll definitely be top 6.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, Kelly. You can't just jump to top 4 from 15 wins. Like, you can't do that. That's too much of a jump.
Hold up.
This
I know.
picture's still in that hallway.
Yeah,
too.
I know. Listen, I agree that they're going to be better, and I agree that they should make the playoffs. But I'm not going to let you jump from 20 wins to just saying number 4 seed.
No,
Like, how you going to jump from
Orlando.
20 wins? How you going to jump from 20 wins to the 4 seed?
But I just hear me out. I'm just telling you, and I don't want to, because we're talking about the championship now. But I'm telling you right now, that team is really, really close. Ja only played 11 games last year.
How many wins they had
Aaron
total
Jackson
this year?
played, 27. But
They had 27 total wins.
The year before though.
Before the injury,
years
though,
for
they
them. They were good.
definitely was on. They were scaling to be a player.
I agree, CB, but to say from 27 to number 4, that I just don't. That's a lot.
Well, put a little side action on
That's
it.
a lot.
Put a little side action on it.
That's a lot.
I know what you're making right now.
Without
That's
the best
a
player?
huge. That's a huge
Next
jump.
year,
Yeah, without Ja Morant,
that boy right there
he's
about
good
to come
for 20
on.
wins.
Yes, he is, and he's about to be ready too next year too.
I'm not saying they're not gonna
Did
make
you
the
say
playoffs.
27?
Yeah.
So that put you at 40. Yeah, 47. Yeah.
All I'm saying is going from 27 wins to the number 4 seed.
And
We gonna see.
And Des Bain missed like 20 games last year, and Jaren Jackson missed
agree.
20 some games.
I agree
last
with
year.
everything you
Marcus
saying.
Smart didn't play.
I agree with everything you're saying, but if they jump to the 4 seed, who you taking out? We can have this conversation all day.
100%.
Marcus Smart needed that year off to
Yeah, he
recover
did.
with his body and everything. He gave it all in Boston.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying. If they go top 4, I'm not saying they can't. Who you taking out? I can think of 4 right now that's definitely gonna be in there.
Go for it.
Name your 4.
I want to hear it.
Denver, Mavericks, OKC, and the Clippers.
Ooh, the Clippers.
What you think they signed Ty Lue for?
Well, I understand that, but they've had Ty Lue for a while now.
They still got to.
And I love Ty Lue. That's my
We
homie.
got to see what they do with PG.
Yeah.
We got to see what they do
I'm
with
just
PG.
saying, that's not a given
We got
either
to see
now.
what they do with PG. But
And on the flip side of it, is Kawhi gonna play any games like next year, and is PG gonna play any games next year?
I mean,
He just signed his deal.
we could do flip side and see if Memphis gonna be healthy next year.
100%. No.
So health has to do with everybody.
If
I
was a
don't
fifth,
disagree with you.
Yeah, if it was fifth, we all be drunk.
Let's talk about ifs and fits, okay?
I'm with you though. I like Memphis.
love this.
Hey, so y'all Thundercats, Memphis. I like y'all. I do. Y'all know I fuck with y'all. All I'm saying is from 27 to the 4 seed, we got to see. That's all.
I think Ja good for 20 wins though. He's just one of those talents.
Oh, I agree. Oh, the boy got it now. He got that.
He got
He
it.
got that shit with him. I just want to see if they're gonna jump from
give us
27
a
wins
headache.
to the 4 seed.
He gives us a
Yeah,
headache.
everybody
all the
headache.
time.
He go get her now. Let's talk about this though, because you talked about it. You said you could, if you could sell dope, you could sell hope.
Man,
Big time line, by the way. I don't think people understand, and I know there's a documentary out there about your growing up and all that stuff, but touch on that a little bit, because growing up and doing what you went through, and then being where you're at now, there's a street named after you, there's a road, whatever it is, there's a bunch of stuff named after you. Like, that's an unbelievable, he would say 360, I'm going to say 180.
man, listen. Listen. I want CB to straight up talk about, because when you grow up where in the South, or you know what I'm saying, place like this, when you think of Wisconsin, you don't think of inner city.
South Dakota.
You don't think of. So I want CB to elaborate on growing up, obviously in Wisconsin and Racine, where he's from, and that community, because that's not the community that when you're not from there, you don't hear about that. They don't talk about that. That's the part that they don't talk about. Yeah, you hear a few stories about somebody getting in trouble here and there, but I never heard of Racine and where he was from until I met him. They never talk about that part. You know what I'm saying? That part never gets any credit or never gets spoken on. So just talk about where you're from, and you know, obviously everything that you're doing now, and got a name, a street named after you, and everything you've been able to do in your community. But like just your flowers though, from where you from.
No doubt.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, so we migrated from Columbus, Mississippi, back in the early '60s. My grandmother, my uncle, and they went up there initially for a corporate job at J.I. Case to build tractors and things like that. So once they went up there and got the job, my mom and the rest of the family still was back in Columbus, Mississippi. They eventually came up, migrated up, and we settled in Racine just because of the opportunity of that. Now, people have to understand that the population of black and brown people is under 15% of the state, and the population of black people entirely is, under 9%. And I think it's probably, trending the other way because more people are leaving than staying, just because of the jobs and things that have moved out of the state, like Seal Air and Johnson Wax. They've moved some of they deployed out to Illinois, and a lot of other companies have left as well. So Incinerator, they're still there. They're a hub, but they're doing a great job. But just that was the reason why my family migrated there, just for that employment, JI case. Now, fast forward to when I came into the world, from the second that I jumped off the porch, all I saw was just, pretty much what you see in any inner city community.
Yeah.
The drug sales, the prostitution, you name it, we saw it. And I was intrigued by it because it was, surface level, quick fix, success stuff where I can get access to capital, get access to money.
What age is this real quick though?
I was like, 11, 12, because I didn't have older siblings, but I had an uncle, I had, 2 uncles actually that was really heavy in that space, in the nightlife and just on the scene, hustling and doing things to accumulate, money. And what I saw garbage bags of money coming in, an influx of capital. I was like, damn, like that's different. Like, how do I get tapped in that space? And I'll never forget one of, my uncle homies, gave me some shakedown or some, just some stuff that they bagged up, and it was just like the crumbs of what was left. And it was about a half ounce of, drugs that just was the shake up. And I went to the street and I came back, and I just never forget the feeling. One, the feeling of going out there and selling it, knowing that I wasn't supposed to be out there doing it at the age of 11 and a half, 12. And at the time, I still was a paper boy for the Journal-Times. So I'm out there at 2, 3 in the morning. My mom working third shift, so nobody was looking for me. But I was just, going back to the alley, going back to the garage, going back to the alley, going back to the garage, catching serves. And I was like, damn, like made about $800 that night. And school came, and I was like, I'm not even doing that. But my mom came in, so I just slept in the basement that first night. I was like, man, I got $800. I'm about to go get me a little trap car and all this stuff. I'm thinking like that already.
Hold on, man. I want you to finish this. But I got to put things. At 12 years old, you were out there slanging, came home with $800?
11 and a half, 12, yeah.
That's unbelievable.
And I still had a paper out too, so I was working for the Journal.
That was your paper
Times.
route.
Yeah, it was doing that and delivering papers. And the papers that came, I didn't even deliver papers that day. I didn't do any of the things that I was supposed to do, but that's how I was like intrigued and exposed to like that life.
So you skipped school. Mm-hmm. So tell me about how we get back into school.
Yeah, I started going back like later that week. It was probably like I didn't go to school for like 2-3 days. And I don't know if anybody used to experience this, but you had the caller ID.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day, people don't
Wild.
understand the plug-in caller ID.
Yeah.
So I took the battery out of it, and my mom couldn't see that the 1-800 number from the school, Racine Unified, was calling saying that I wasn't in attendance. And that was just like how I really just took off in that space. I ended up telling my friends how much money I made, and believe me, I was like, look, this is what it is. This is all you got to do. And then I start going back to school, probably day 3, day 4, and they start skipping school because they was working for me. And so that's how my whole little process started.
So what's the most amount of money you made that year?
I don't know a year, but I was easily making $3,000-$4,000 a week.
At 12.
At 12.
First of all, let me just explain this. You got to give credit where credit due.
That's right.
The man figured it out.
No,
He got
not.
people working for him. He started going back to school. Now, I ain't encouraging this.
He's always been
I ain't encouraging this. But when anything gonna do anything, be a boss. Don't be a worker. You know what I'm saying? And second thing though, I real talk though, all aside, like when you're growing up in the inner cities and you're growing up in the hood, like your idea of success is only what you see. And it's what you see that is obtainable. And the only thing you see that is obtainable is the dope boys. Mm-hmm. Like you ain't really thinking about what they did to get the money. This is what success looks like. Mm-hmm. the cars, the girls. I mean, I remember being in high school and dope boys coming up, picking up high school girls, and you just sit, that's the girl you like.
Yeah.
She done jumped in there with the dope boy. You ain't got a chance.
How do I get that Cadillac? How do I
Yes,
get that
exactly.
chain so
yes,
she wants
yes.
me?
She ain't even looking over here because he done pulled up in the caddy, sitting on 20s. You know what I'm saying? So your definition of success is that. So when people say, oh, why didn't you do something positive? Why didn't you you didn't know what was positive or negative. You just knew that was your definition of success, and you wanted to be successful. Like, you didn't think about what it took to get it.
Or the consequences.
Or the consequences. You're not thinking about that. This is what success looks like. How can I get what he got? And that's what you focus on. Because that's what's around. You only know what you see.
Facts.
I know how it ended based on what I've seen and heard. But for the people at home, talked about how you stepped out of that and then how you got to UConn and all that stuff. So give the segue from 12 to basically Big East
Player of the Year.
Player of the Year.
Yeah, I think that sequence, like, if you can just process it, that went on for years, but also like my loitering charges and things like that, being outside like a statue, being in, raids, dope houses, the rap van coming. I got picked up multiple times, just getting incarcerated for 2 weeks, going back, getting out, going to jail for a month, boys home, stuff like that for just extended period of time. And then it was just the one time that really, where it happened, where I got locked up for 2 years, where I wasn't supposed to be going to school. I ended up going to school that morning to, have an exchange, catch a serve at JI case, and the ATF alcohol, tobacco, firearm unit was there on the grounds. I did not know that. They had an informant meet me in the boys' restroom.
Damn.
And
You're 16.
I think I was 14.
14?
I was younger. So I was like, I was a freshman at Case, so 15, 14 and a half, 15. And I went there, I had a half ounce of cocaine on me. And I did the sale. I leave the restroom where we had the transaction. As I'm leaving, one of our hall monitors, or one of the OGs in the school, he had saw me, and I was trying to go to the exit door, and he was like, "Hey, Butler, like, hey, what are you doing? You got to go to class." And it was like homeroom. I'm like, damn. Like, all right. I went back upstairs, and I'm dirty. I got all the stuff on me and everything. And I sat down in the homeroom class, and I'm like, all right, I just got to sit here for 15 minutes, and then I can get out. Long story short, ATF come in there. They telling everybody to move to the side of the class, and I'm like, oh, they got me. Like, I just already felt it. I knew what it was. We had the windows. We was on the second floor. We had the windows that kind of open.
Yeah, the tilt open.
Yeah, they don't open all the way. So I looked at that. I peeped that. I was like, I can't jump. I'm like looking around. There's only one exit. I'm just like, damn, they got me. They just like, and I knew what time it was. They're like, everybody move to that side. Could you stay right there? Like,
God.
And I'm like, And I just stood up and let them apprehend me, took me downstairs. I saw the informant. It was a gun in a locker that they found as well. And long story short, it wasn't mine. The pistol wasn't mine, but I took the case because I already got caught dirty with this, so I might as well just took. Yeah. I just said this is just give it to me. Like it is what it is. And I took the hit, and I ended up doing 18 months off the 2 years. But when I got out, it was just like I really feel like I was rehabilitated because of sitting still and during that process, like reading the Quran, getting my visits from my mentors and people that really trusted me and poured into me, that told me that I can pivot and make a change and not be recycled in this system. I got out, I started playing basketball. Muslim brother by the name of Jamil Aguari hooked me up with this AAU traveling team. And I started traveling around the world with a bracelet on and everything. And I got ranked in the country. That led to me going to MCI, going to a prep school with Max Good, legendary coach.
Max Good's the man, by the way.
Legendary
Hold on.
coach.
I got to ask you a question, though, because I have to know this from me personally.
Yeah.
So prior to getting locked up, were you a hooper?
Yeah.
So you played.
Yeah,
So
I
it
always
was,
had size.
Okay, yeah.
Outside, nothing organized though, or you was playing organized?
Never
Just on the
organized.
park.
So just park.
Yeah.
Slang a little something.
Yeah.
Hit a couple jumpers, leave.
I did not. I'm gonna keep it 100. I didn't know I was nice until I got locked up. Where we started gambling for the zebra cakes and the little Debbie.
Yeah,
It was
the
like
zebra cakes.
all the canteen. So it was a dude by the name of Sir Ping that was in Wales. He was like the superintendent over all the unit. I think it was Juno, the place where I was locked up at first, the cottage. And he was like, man, you got sides. I think you could play. And he had me playing one-on-one against like all the inmates, dudes that got life, dudes that got whatever, all the time in the world. And I'm playing against these dudes. They like, damn, like he nice. And that's when I was like, damn, I'm better than all these dudes. Because my talent was never put on full display like that. I used to play pickup at the corner, shoot a couple, and then I'm like, damn, I got to serve.
Gotta
Like,
work.
I'm
Yeah,
gone.
yeah.
But it was like, damn, like he can hoop. Like he really can hoop.
Wow.
Hey,
knew I had
I gotta try. I'm trying to envision this, so that's why I'm asking these questions. So you're 16 in here against dudes that are in there for life.
Yeah.
And hooping against these dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caught,
Yeah.
Ain't no
Hey, listen.
fouls, ain't no nothing.
And listen,
Did you have someone like,
Listen,
like
I
were
just
you ever
got-
worried?
No.
I just got to say this one thing, and I understand that things might have worked out better for you in the long run, but you got to be a dirty to be a confidential informant on a 14-year-old. Whoever you are, I hope you feel good about yourself. I hope you feel good about yourself. He was 14.
You know what?
You got to be you just got to be a dirty. Like I hope you feel good. I know it worked out for the better, but I just had to say that. Who the f- are you?
I don't disagree with you, but thank God it did happen.
I know it
Yeah.
did. Thank God it did. But goddamn.
The time and everything, it was perfect.
Yeah,
Thank God
two,
it happened.
I know you know this because from being in South Dakota, but crack stink. You cooking and cutting that shit stink. That shit stink. So I was just being honest, man. There's a lot of that shit that could have went the other way, man. But I'm appreciative for you being here because obviously you end up being my OG. But I just had to say that you a dirty whoever you are.
You ain't lying.
So you go out in the AAU circuit, you start hooping. UConn, who else was recruiting you? I mean, everybody?
Not everybody, because I
Were
had.
they worried about your
Is he a
past?
They didn't know until after the Peace Jam. I think it was the Peace Jam or the Indiana tournament. I think I averaged like 39 at the Peace Jam.
Damn!
It was something crazy. But I got the
That's up there in
MVP.
Georgia, right?
Yeah.
Damn.
And this is my first like time playing like on the circuit or anything.
He had been playing in prison. Them grown ass men. He got out there on Peace Jam. Them
I ain't
boys.
never been
Them
out.
boys couldn't come.
Yeah.
Tear their ass up.
But when they start doing that background check, it was like, is he eligible? Is he clearinghouse? Like they start asking these questions. They're like, no, he fresh out. See, he got a bracelet on and all. So now it's like, oh man.
I get 39 a game.
But
looking there.
the only coaches, God rest his soul, John Thompson, Mike Jarvis,
all the OGs for real.
all the OGs, Don Crenshaw from Nike. What's the brother name that grabbed? He grabbed the Martin Luther King speech after he did it.
Oh, that's Nike dude.
Coach.
Yeah.
He was coach at USC.
Yes, yeah. God, he worked for Nike for
Yeah, forever.
Yeah.
Is it Henry Bibb?
No. It's,
Say he coached for USC?
Yeah, he grabbed the Dr. Martin Luther
yeah,
King.
yes.
Oh, he drafted Dr.
No,
Martin
grabbed
Luther-
it.
He
He
grabbed
had
the
it.
speech.
Oh, he grabbed it.
He had it.
Who was it?
Raveling.
Yeah, okay, George Raveling.
George
Sorry.
Raveling. Okay, yeah.
George Raveling, like he was like got me in the system where I was a Nike kid immediately, and he was just like, all right, they took me under their umbrella, like, hey, we're gonna help you through this process. They gave us the resources that we need at the community center, and that kind of just ushered me down the path to like, be straight.
It's the dopest story.
Take a
ever.
village, dog.
It's
Stories that you don't know, man. It take a village, boy. That's dope.
Man, I keep telling folks all the time, like, for those who go back to their communities and go through this process of service, like a bad community, 9 times out of 10 would change you before you change it. So you gotta like have the mental stability to like process that and like just be so tactical in your approach on how you become successful.
Yeah.
And I had a strong village of people like that.
Man, I tell people all the time, and that's what I tell a lot of the young guys for the Heat, and any other young guy who I got a chance to have their ear. In the off season, when you go back home, just take an hour and go sit down with the commissioner. Go sit down with the mayor. they would love to have you in their office.
Yeah.
They would open up the doors and roll out the red carpet for you.
Whatever you
just
need.
sit down and they'll tell you everything that's going on in your community, how you can help, where you can help, all that shit you want to do. They got to sign off on it anyway. All our money don't matter when it comes to politics. You need those people. So to go down and you at home, do a little more than throw a party in your city. Do more than throw something at the club. Go sit down with the people in the community and they'll tell you what they need. They'll tell you how to help them.
Deep.
You said some powerful thing there though, like, and it's important for young players. With we start OGs to help these guys. The same thing you're doing now in coaching and stuff, but it's what you said was very important. Is what I say for all these young guys coming up is like, you said an environment, a bad environment, will change you before you change it.
It's likely.
Yeah.
It's the same way with the kids coming up. The people around you.
Yeah.
It's that important, right? Like, you get enough bad people around you, you're going to probably change and adapt with them.
Yeah.
Before they're going to adapt to what you do.
1,000%.
That's real.
So
right
you
there.
definitely got to get to the
Unbelievable.
point where you got good people around you.
In every city you go to right now for the young players, like, I think this was a vehicle for me to just like operate and do like fundraising and stuff like that from a business standpoint. Just like you're on a free business trip for the most part in all these cities. So make sure that you executing it properly by like meeting with executives and things like that from different walks of life, because you're able to have meetings because you don't have the letters X in front of your name right now. So everybody it's a luxury to have that meeting. You know, you have to use that leverage, because once you do put the X in front of your name, it's a little harder. If you're not a visible face on television or a podcast that's doing numbers and streams and people see you out there, if you're not being an asset to something that's bigger than yourself, now it's going to be harder to have that meeting. They don't give a shit about your
It
bag.
changes
that you got.
quickly,
It
no
changes
doubt.
immediately, and I don't care who you are. Like, every player go through that, so just like make sure you're maximizing that during this time as an active player. If you listen to that, that's just food for thought.
No, I mean, for all these kids, you got to understand your time is, and it goes fast, is limited, and you got a foundation to make an impact for a little bit of time.
Yes.
Once you say you put an X in front of it, like you said, you can still get it, but it's a lot more work to get it.
Yeah.
That 20 years went fast, didn't it?
Man, quick. And the best thing I could have did was pay attention to guys like yourself, guys like Dwayne, and all these guys that had already retired. And I watched you guys as you guys went through retirement, and you guys never took your foot off the gas.
Never.
You never took
Still
your foot
ain't.
off. You just took the way you approached the game of basketball and applied it somewhere else. I tell people this all the time. Heat culture, it don't just work in the organization and on the basketball court.
Working business.
Work in life and in business. If you can have the discipline to approach things in life the same way you approach that when we step in that arena, if you can have that discipline, then you can be successful outside of that arena, because that works. That
Telling you.
works, CB.
I'm telling you, people don't talk about that enough. Like, people, obviously we talk about the culture and what it is, but it's like, it teaches you how to be an asset, whether you're the last man on the bench, whether who my star player is. I say Scott. Gurka's my star player. Scott, like he's the bridge to everything. And then whether you're Dan in the film room, whether you're Mario, whether you're Maggie, whether you all the way up to the Godfather, whether you are head coach, Spo, whatever, like, everybody has like these roles, and everybody's a star in the roles, but you also understand the importance of like being consistent in those spaces. And I think you can just immediately pivot into the business space and be like, damn, these are all attributes that I can take into this walk of life and make me successful. These conversations that I'm having in the locker room and at these meetings, at these functions, I can take these tactics and take it into my household and like pour into my kids and make them a better version of themselves and 10x their process. So I think that, I just think that sports do that. There's so many parallels in sports and life, but especially here in what we do. Like, we double down on all that.
No doubt. All right, real quick, going into our prize pick segment. Hey, UD, what does prize picks do, man? They give out
Hey,
what?
listen here, man. This is just our opinion. Don't be writing the OG podcast. Don't be DMing us, complaining, talking that shit. We are entitled to our opinion. It's nothing more, it's nothing less. And probably we don't care what you think. So, prize picks, let's do it.
So the prize
Yeah,
pick
you got to
segment.
understand, Steve, this ain't got nothing to do with you, but we have an opinion, and people just try to light us up for our opinion.
It's our observation on what you just asked.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
What you
Don't
want
get mad at us.
What you want us to do? So this prize pick segment is the top 5 coaches in the league today. Not of all time, not who you played for in the league today. Who's your top 5 coaches in the league today?
You ready?
That's you, coach.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So I'm right off the top, Coach Spo.
Spostra, Nostra.
Yeah, you already know what time it
Already.
is.
Yes, sir.
Young Vito.
Yes, sir.
Then I'm gonna go with Pop, Ty Lue,
Lou.
J Kidd,
Yeah.
and then lastly, this is a tough one, but I'm gonna go Rick Carlisle.
I thought you was gonna say
I don't
that.
know if that's a tough
Even
one.
though Rick, I don't know what the hell Rick was doing last playoff series, but I thought you was gonna say that because I seen it firsthand. That championship that we lost to Dallas, Rick was on his. Rick was on his when they coached together.
He a magician.
He had a tough run this playoff against Boston. Because there was a couple things that we all saw, the world saw that. But once again, we're not in those huddles. It could have been called one way and executed differently. And we don't know what the situation was. But I agree with you. Rick should definitely be on that list. Rick can coach his ass off.
I don't even know Rick, but at least the one thing I liked about Rick, even in those tough situations, he set up and owned it too.
Yeah.
I should have done this. I should have done that. It wasn't their fault. That was my fault.
Yeah, he knows.
That's coaching, bro.
Yeah, he knows.
Yeah. I don't know if I can make a change to that. Can you?
No, I can't make a change to that. I'm with that. I'm with that 7 days a week and twice on Sunday, especially the Ty Lues and the J Kids and, just the ex-players that are on that list. Got personal relationships. When I see those guys, we played against each other, but in my role that I was in and in their role that they was in, they always took the time out to give me advice. Hey, man, I love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Play as long as you can. Keep giving these guys knowledge. Keep taking care of these young guys. They need that. So it was always encouraging whenever I ran into Jason Kidd or Ty Lue. And they was retired, but that was the words that they had for me. You know what I'm saying? So I love to see them on that list.
You got to look at all those guys I mentioned too. This from another observation. If you can, the fans out there that's going to see it, are they maximizing every talent on the roster? So because so many times you can see, and it's no knock to the coach because usage and all that stuff. When you got great players, you got great players. You just follow the momentum, but. It's very intriguing now being on this side of things just to watch how you get the most out of every guy on the roster.
Yeah.
That's why that list was easy for me just to
Yes.
check that box. Easy.
They do a great job.
And I think, and that's a great point because it's easy to maximize your 2 best players and tell the other 3 out there to figure it out. And I think that's what a lot of coaches do. But if you can maximize all 5 of the guys that's on the court at the same time, then you done figure some shit out. And I mean, you had to go to work and get in the lab because that shit don't just happen overnight. You got to get in the lab to get that going.
They don't know nothing about Oregon Trail.
No, they don't.
It's an old game right there,
That is an
Oregon
old game,
Trail
Oregon
on
Trail.
Arkansas. They don't know nothing about that.
Oh, I like that list. That's a good list.
Yeah, no, that's a hell of a list. I can't argue that list.
Well, here at the OGs, man, we're a man of the people. We got some fan questions for you, man. 'Cause you're an OG like us. All right. First fan question: most memorable moment playing with Kobe.
Man,
I love Kobe stories, so I'm with this guy.
It's crazy because I have 2. One I never told, one I kind of touch on often. The time we was in Charlotte, and I forget the coach. I don't know if it was Rudy T or Frank Hamlin. They was drawing up a play because Rudy T left halfway through the season, so it might have been Frank Hamlin. But whoever our coach was at the time, he was drawing up the play. Kobe just kind of wiped the board real quick. He was like, "Hey, who the f want to be part of history?" And everybody was like Lamar was like, "I want to be part of history." He's like, "All right, you take the ball out. I'm gonna get open right here. Throw it to me. Everybody run out the tunnel. Game." And that's just true story, dog. Real time. He nobody knew where to go on the court. Just hey, he's gonna catch it somewhere right here. Just get the out the way.
Run in the locker room.
And that's what happened in real time. He was like, just whoever want to be part of history, throw me the ball. Right, I'm gonna be right here, and that's what happened. But I think just after everything, all the adversity that we was going through, the Shaq trade and all that, and I never forget we was in Denver. This story I never told. He was just sitting there on the bench, and he just start closing his eyes and he put his hands up, and I'm like, damn, what is he doing? And Melvin Hunt, who was the assistant coach at the time, he's what is he doing? He said, and he just stood up, and I was processing all that shit. because they was like, booing him and everything. He was like, I'm gonna win another 3-4 titles, and I want to win a championship in this building and in this arena. And I was just like, damn, like this, like him being wired like that in that moment. And we was getting our ass kicked probably about 25, 30 points, but just him just like tapping in, and I'm just trying to get through the game. I'm like, I got 11 points. I'm trying to score 13. And he's thinking like,
he's in a moment talking about how good it's gonna be.
Yeah, I see chips. I see, and I got to remember this. I got to add this on for my motivation during my process. Like it was just crazy how he was like wired like that. And I'll never forget. He just always told me and talked to me about, and this what we always have dialogue about, just your second act. Like what's next? Like even when you're in the process of what you're doing. What's next? Yeah. Like, what is next? Like, don't celebrate that shit. All right, good. Yeah, man, congrats on your new deal, whatever. But like, what's next? Yeah. Like, what's next? Yeah. So that's my favorite Kobe memory as well.
That's beautiful.
Next question: toughest player to guard. Oh, here we go. We're up here.
I would say Kobe or T-Mac.
T-Mac.
Yeah.
T-Mac don't get
T-Mac
enough
had
flowers.
that.
Yeah, but Steve Francis too. Like I think people don't talk enough about Steve Francis. When franchise was the franchise, he was a problem. He's a problem.
No, when he started going to his stuff, I just fouled him.
He just started dancing.
Him and Jamal Crawford. Every time they went to that wiggle stuff.
I ain't doing that.
You ain't finna have me.
Switch. I got two. You guard him.
Killer say that wiggle stuff. As soon as they start doing that wiggle stuff.
On that wiggle. Hey, you finna take that outside here.
Wow.
I did that.
Help
me.
Help.
No, I ain't gonna let him start dancing on me.
Black, sit him black. I need a blitz. Come, hurry. Get it out of his hand.
Besides my man, the OG over there, who's an NBA player that everyone respected and were slightly afraid of?
It's a handful of guys. I think everyone respected. I think Chauncey Billups, somebody who a lot of people respected, just from that standpoint.
Man, respect for Chauncey.
Yeah,
another OG who I saw on the sidelines at Portland. Same thing, giving me advice. Hey, man, we love what you're doing. It was just a lot of encouraging support from those guys that was on the court with me, and they crossed over to the coaching side, and when they saw what I was doing, it was just all love and support. So
David
that's
West.
Another name,
David
Chauncey.
West.
He was a tough one. He was a tough one.
Just like dudes that stood on business that,
Zebo.
Yeah.
Zebo.
Zebo stood on that business.
Yeah, man.
Kenya Martin.
Indiana.
Kenya Martin stood on business.
Kmart.
Yeah. Boy stayed on business. It's a different league.
Yeah.
Different league. We talk about a lot of guys that don't play no more. They knock your goddamn block off.
Hey, I tell you what, that's a good segue because the next question I just pulled up here, thoughts on the level of toughness in today's NBA.
On a scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah.
3. It's not a knock. It's just league. That's okay.
It's okay.
It's not. They want more scoring. They want more
I heard
athleticism.
someone say, which I thought was really, really good. They said, I don't think the league is soft. I think the rules are what they're allowed.
Yeah, it's the rules. They want to see more scoring. They want to see more athleticism. They want to see all the exciting stuff.
I think that's a fair assessment, right? Like it's not that y'all soft.
I'm not saying the players are necessarily soft. I'm just saying the rules have softened.
Golly, man,
speeding it up.
When we played through there, and I ain't trying to be the guy who walked up the hill at school both ways. But gosh, damn, them dudes were tough.
Yeah.
The guys we're talking about, man, like you go across Cliff Robinson,
Derek Coleman,
like
he's another
you see a drop your ass. Boy.
Talk about like you just they swipe and break your hand.
Yeah.
Different.
What? Like different. Last one, I'm gonna give you this one because UD's sitting here too. How special was that team that featured UD, Wade, Skip, LO, EJ, and B Grant?
That was a fun team.
B Grant.
Yeah, right?
That was a fun team.
Yeah, man, that was special. You know what? I've been on a lot of different teams, played with 7 or 8 organizations, and I always go back to that team just like, what the hell would have happened? Like, if we would have been able to stay together, just because we was young, the core, the nucleus, everything. I felt like Miami was just starting to trend, like from a basketball standpoint. You know, it was all football.
Yeah.
But it was just like it was happening. And I was like, damn, we got young D Wade, we got UD, we got like what would have happened with that team? But now we all back pouring in a different way, so it's still special. Malik,
yes,
obviously
Malik.
He on the bench doing his thing as well. Amazing basketball mind, so. But I always think about like what would have happened with that squad because that was a special group.
It was a young. That team was fun
That
too.
was a fun team.
Yeah, man.
We had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We signed LO in free agency. LO had just came from that hell of a year with the Clippers.
Man, that dude was so good too, man.
Yeah.
He was
You know what?
was
It was probably the two
unbelievable.
funniest. Skip and LO together. Man, New York cats.
Dudes,
Oh
man.
my
City
God.
Slickers.
Them New York dudes
City
and stuff,
Slickers.
man, they funny. Man, they listen after every practice. Don't get it started because they're gonna play one-on-one.
Right.
Any kind of argument, they could be arguing about the bubble gum and the over there crossed by the basketball, and it's gonna turn into one-on-one. Anybody, if you're from New York, you in all conversations with one-on-one. Whoever win one-on-one just win the conversation. That's how they do in New York. If you're from New York, you just go play one-on-one basketball. And whoever one-on-one basketball, that's who won the conversation.
Facts.
But hey, man, I appreciate you coming in for real.
Yeah, this is amazing,
And
man.
let me
Yeah,
tell you,
man,
let me tell
appreciate you, CB.
The story, the stuff you told, like I've known about it, but listening to that and where you're at now, signing a new 4-year deal, played
Yes.
16 years in the league,
Hell yeah.
All-Star, god dang, NBA champ.
One of my OGs,
Bless
obviously we about the same age, but one of my OGs, I appreciate you, man, for
Family,
not always
brother.
holding it down when you was in the league, but when you retired and when you came over to the coaching staff, it was a breath of fresh air for me.
Thank you.
To be able to sit down and have conversations and ask somebody questions, and you know I've asked you questions plenty of times,
Right.
and it's never about basketball. It's just about life and about being a man and just being on this other side. So I appreciate you, dog. Thank you.
Love you,
Thank
brother.
you. Yeah, thank you for coming in,
know
brother.
what it is.
For real.
Got my OG. Got my OG.
Yeah, yeah. Before we leave, we can't do this because this man shines in this moment. We got the OG advice.
Got the OG advice, man. I'm gonna take a quote from my man Caron Butler. If you can sell dope, you can sell hope. For sure, man. Anything in life, man, that you want to do, man, you can do it, man. You talk about Caron, who came from where he came from at 10 years old. You know what I'm saying? Jumping off the porch and making some decisions that could have affected his life, but you know, turned it around and where he's at today. Obviously, Mike growing up in South Dakota, slinging rocks and then pushing birds, and you know what I'm saying. You see where he's at today. You know what I mean? So anybody can be here in these chairs doing anything, man. You put yourself in the right situation around the right people, figure it out, and put your mind to something, man. And don't let nobody stop you.
If you can sell dope,
You can sell hope.
sell hope. Appreciate you, CB. Appreciate y'all.
OG
OG's out, man. Thank you.
Sir.